Yes. Hello, my beautiful friends. What an amazing day it is. It feels like the first bit of good news in a century, maybe, give or take. We got the arrest, the catching of the Charlie Kirk assassin, the murderer who took him from us way too early. We're going to go through all of it today. There was a press briefing early. If you're up on the East Coast, you may have watched it because it was like 9 o'clock. But our time, it was a little early on the West Coast. So we're going to watch that puppy again. It's about 30 minutes. We do get some good details. Kash Patel came out and spoke about it. Governor Cox came out and spoke about it. And we'll see what they had to say because there's a bunch of follow-up to that. We've now got people, matching photos together and wanting to confirm this is the dude. And we're waiting to hear more from law enforcement about what this dude has said and all sorts of open questions. So we're going to go through it. We got a bunch of reaction, bunch of news on it being reported. TMZ's got some new videos that leaked out that we'll go through, and we'll catch up on the latest stuff. But there is some progress today, and was a little nervous that maybe we were not going to see this happen, but it has happened. So we'll talk about that. Charlie Kirk is back in Arizona. So JD Vance went and met with the family yesterday and then chaperoned Charlie's casket to Arizona. I've got some of that queued up. We'll save that to the end and pay our tributes then. But we also got a bunch of news about the firings that are happening in large numbers, giant swaths of liberals screeching into the sky because some of them are even losing their jobs, getting fired for their nasty, callous, evil responses to the death of a father and a husband and an American leader and a hero to many people who was just trying to have a conversation with the opposing side. So they shot him in the neck and had to take him out. So many of them are being fired. And we've even got Congress people in our government saying, hey, this Secret Service dude has to go. That fire person has to go. And so we've got a whole list of this. And we're happy with this development. I know a lot of the people on the left are saying, they're making so much of this, and these right-wing podcasters, like Anderson Cooper said yesterday. But what we remember, if you recall, was back during January 6th, remember, they had the sedition hunters and all this crap. They were calling us seditious conspirators. We said, what? It was a peaceful protest. You invited many people in, and you let the building be ransacked because Trump wanted 10,000 National Guard there. You know the whole thing. Nancy Pelosi knows she's responsible for it. Stephen Sun wrote the whole thing in his book. But they waged war for 4 years. They tried to debank people. They tried to censor people. They demonetized our entire channel for 9 months. I mean, they went hard. They played hard. And so the question is, of course, are we going to see that in response, calling out these people for actual calloused evil? And we'll go through all of that and see what you have to say about it. I also got some stuff queued up. There's been a bunch of, kind of people pointing out people in the crowd. And I want to go through those. There's the white hat guy. A lot of people are saying, was he making a hand signal on that? I got some information on that. I don't think it is anything at all. It's a doctor who is connected to Charlie Kirk, and so we'll go through that. There's also the other guy who's kind of tapping his shoulder and tapping his sides. Looks like that was Charlie Kirk's bodyguard, and so we'll get all of that. I had an errant hair that was bothering me, so it's gone now. But now we're going to go through all of that, and I also got a clip of the guy who actually spoke, asked Charlie Kirk the very last question. He made a video and he responded to what his take was on this whole thing. And so we'll watch that because he's really shaken up over the whole thing. And so we got a bunch of great stuff to get to today, my friends. Really glad that you're here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your love. Thanks for sharing your energy with everybody around you and being amazing. And as you have been over these last few days, supporting everybody who's just trying to understand what happened here, waking up, realizing that we are in a far different country than many of us even recognized. I mean, the vitriol, the viciousness, the horror that we've been watching from the other side of the aisle is everywhere, right? These are people who are going to our universities, who are working in our hospitals, who are working at the fire department, who are many of whom are teaching our kids, and they're all murdering sympathizers. Are you kidding me? So we're going to go through it. We're going to see what you say about all of it and more. We're very glad that you're here and joining us today. And G-Men, what's up? Sending in a super chat bright and early. Crowder was subpoenaed by the ATF. He better hold the line for the First Amendment. I'm sure he will. We'll see what he does. But yeah, it's interesting, right? There's a kind of two separate thoughts on that. What is happening with the leaks, right? Is the FBI going after the leaks and trying to, prevent any leaks, even if it's a friendly leak, or what's going on. So we'll get into all of it and more, my friends. It's a beautiful Friday. We got a little bit of good news on the day, and so we're happy that you're here, and we're getting some progress on this, hopefully getting some closure in the near future. But we've got an arrest. This dude has been caught, and let's jump into the meat and potatoes here today. This is what the latest is. Caught Charlie Kirk's murderer, his assassin, now in custody. We got a bunch of updates over here from the Daily Mail, and they are releasing now the photo that they have captured of him when he has been detained. So a mugshot photo. We've got that, and we got a lot more information on who this dude is. And we also had the entire press briefing come out today for about 30 minutes that we'll get into and see what they reveal for us, because Kash Patel was talking there and more. But here is some background, the absolute latest. They say this has just become a political problem. He's become even more political in recent years, this guy. He was identified as Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, from Washington, Utah, and he was turned into police overnight by his father and a minister in southern Utah after authorities shared the image of the shooter. Dad's like, oh, crap. Suspect's arrest came after Utah Governor Cox pleaded with the public, help us find this guy. During a news conference, we'll go through it, Kash Patel came out and said some things. Now, Robinson had become more political in recent years. In the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to the UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints they had. And he reportedly talked about disliking Charlie at another recent dinner with family, where he mentioned the conservative was coming to Utah. He said that Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate, so we should shoot him in the neck. Bullet casings discovered by the investigators had several inscriptions engraved on them, and the casing that had been fired read, "Notices, bulges, OWO, what's this?" There were also unfired casings that the governor will tell us about, and one of them is very interesting. It's "Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow Chow Chow." And our friend Andy NGO gave us some details on what that one means. He says, and we're listening to the governor explain all of this to us, but a little more context before we jump in on that. Here is what Andy NGO had to say. And of course, he was and has been very focused on reporting on the Antifa lunatics. So he posted this. Charlie Kirk's assassination presser. They said that Tyler Robinson allegedly wrote some Antifa phrases on fired casings saying, "Hey, fascist," and "Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow." The lyrics are to an old Italian protest song now used by Antifa as a theme song. Arrow symbols, up arrow, right arrow, and 3 down arrow symbols. These were not shown. They were just verbally described. So we've got a nexus with Antifa, which is an organized terroristic organization, and hopefully our federal government responds accordingly. So Andy NGO, thank you for those details. We also saw some background on this dude. Law enforcement told the Daily Mail that he was taken into custody. And now his father is called Matt. He's a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department, the dad. Sources told the Daily Mail. His father then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. So you'd imagine lots of firearms going on in that household if the dad is with the sheriff's department. Now, his mother, Amber Robinson, works for the Intermountain Support Coordination Services, a company contracted by the state of Utah to help disabled people receive care. So it's like, two very contributory parents. Robinson was a student at Utah State University on a scholarship, insiders confirmed. The family's social media profiles show Robinson, who has 2 younger brothers, often enjoying family vacations, sharing smiling selfies, including one with his mother. Robinson was taken into custody around 11 p.m. local time, Utah, on Thursday night last night. He lives in a $600,000 6-bedroom home in Washington, about 260 miles south of where Kirk was killed. Officials have yet to confirm a motive to the assassination. I think we know pretty well why he did this. And here's some more photos, right? It's kind of a nice looking family. They're out there smiling, taking photos. Here he was. There's some interesting comparisons between, obviously, he looks just like the dude. And I think anytime you're talking about maniac murderers, people are always looking at the eyes and the wide set eyes. So you see he covered himself up as he was making his way in. A bunch of other photos have come out of this dude. So here's an interesting one where the shooter, the assassin, the murderer, was dressing up riding on a Trump costume from 2017. Isn't that interesting? And what's also interesting is that this dude right next to him, little bro, probably, is dressed as an assassin or something. I don't know, but he's got a nice little rifle sticking out right there. So, just interesting. I don't know if you can read into anything like that, but if he's riding Trump, the face looks like it's a little green, so it's probably not a friendly gesture. But those are the photos. Here's another photo of him using guns in his childhood, including one where he was posing with an M2 Browning 50 caliber machine gun right there. There's his father. The alleged killer confessed to his father, 27-year veteran of the sheriff's department, sources from the Daily Mail. And they got a lot of photos. They went and dug into it. Looks like this is kind of from the same, like maybe a same sequence. Like the family maybe went to go visit him, like right here. Hi, son, is this your dorm? He's like, yeah, it's so great. Great. All right, let's go to lunch. Right. He's in the same suit and the same shirt and kind of the same outfit, more or less. Right. Maybe it's not the same shirt, but he looks basically the same. Yeah, it's a different color shirt, but kind of the same. So not the same event. My mistake. So anyways, here he is. His mother, Amber Robinson, works for the Intermountain Support Coordination Services. There's mom taking photos with her son, happy as can be. Family social media profiles show that they're enjoying family vacations. Multiple suspects were incorrectly apprehended. FBI released a bunch of footage yesterday. We'll take a look at it. I got a bunch of stuff queued up here. Here's basically the sniper's nest viewpoint. This was where he was. So for those doing analysis on the shot, I think this gives you some good perspective for what you're looking at. So 200 yards, some people said easy shot. 200 yards, some people said, no, you got to be like a super professional to do this. And you can be the judge of that. So that's where it was. Then he made this route away. So he hopped off the roof over here, jumped over, or actually it looks like he came this way, maybe got onto the roof that way, and then left this direction, I think is where they're telling us. So there's more. Of course, we got a lot of the footage. We have seen the scene a lot. We know Charlie leaves behind a beautiful wife, Erica, and two beautiful kids. And chaos erupted 20 minutes after this. We got all these other people who were arrested, J.D. Vance, and there are those two babies. I thought he may have had another baby. Did he have a third baby just recently? Sophie Anderson, 45, who was standing 100 feet from the stage when shooting, saw it happen. She says, the second it happened, I knew it was a gunshot. They carried him off, and we know he was brutally killed. So lots of more background on that, but that's the details on who this dude is. So the live updates here, another photo from him. Daily Mail releases a bombshell podcast series explaining the assassination. Okay. So Turning Point also posted a little memento. We'll come back and see what the latest is with Charlie. But that's what we've got. All right. So that's the latest from the Daily Mail, and the New York Times article has been terrible. So we'll just skip over that. But then we got the press briefing. And so we'll come back through this. And before we get there, they dropped this out before they announced his arrest. Now, they said the FBI is releasing video of the shooter who murdered Charlie Kirk getting off the roof. They just gave us that image so you can see what he was dressed in. And if you look at the actual video, they say, here's what happened. So this is from the FBI.gov website. The FBI is releasing a video of the shooter in the Utah Valley shooting. The subject is seen jumping from the rooftop after the shooting at 12 p.m. Mountain. The subject climbed up to a rooftop after he shot and killed Charlie Kirk. He jumped off and ran away. He left a gun and ammunition in a wooded area near the university. Trace evidence collected from the rooftop scene included shoe impressions, forearm imprint, and a palm print. So hopefully those match. Now, anyone with information in this case should give us a call. And here is what the actual video looked like that was released from the FBI. You can see they posted this over there. And here's what we've got. So shooter running across. Going to come back there. You can see his feet right there. Make his way this way. Zooming in for us. So is that the rifle right there? Kind of in that, he just dropped it. That right there. Is he running away with the rifle? He's got a bag, something right there, as you can see. Off the roof, onto the top of the fence. Pretty significant drop there. He rebalances himself, picks up something, and then runs away. So a lot of people are asking if this is a Mauser 30-06, which has a certain look to it, a certain size to it. And I pulled some of this stuff up, and I've got an image of what I found over from Arms List, I believe it was. No, Adelbridge Firearms here. Okay, so if this is a Mauser 30-06, I pulled this up last night, it's out of stock. But here you can see, let's say it was a Mauser 30-06 right there. That's the size of the rifle. It's not like a, collapsible, AR with the buttstock that comes forward or something like that. So where's the gun as we're watching and looking at all of this? And so this came over from Adelbridge Firearms. There's different versions of this. Some are not in wood. Some don't have the scope on them. But there's also this dude on YouTube who was shooting this gun. And so he actually just, pulled it out. Another one, 30-06, Mauser 30-06. And you can see this is what he's doing with it. So it's not, it's a big device, right? It's a big gun. It's got a lot of heft and weight to it. And that guy's over on YouTube reporting, or he wasn't reporting on it, he was just showing the gun, actually. So that's what we're looking at. And as we're watching the videos and the footage, we're wondering where that weapon ultimately was as he was running away. Maybe it is in that bag. Some people were saying maybe it was in his leg. And where did the weapon come in? So if these were photos from him making his way in, where was the weapon? And of course, these photos came from FBI Salt Lake City. And you can see here, now he's walking kind of strange. So people say maybe it's in his pant leg. Maybe it's just tucked in right there. And he's kind of walking kind of strange. So he's limping a little bit, like right, another straight foot right there. Maybe the firearm, the rifle is tucked in there, but that leg looks pretty bent right there as he's turning the corner. So from if there was a rifle kind of tucked in there, like on that leg, he takes another step and you just don't know where it is really. So hopefully we get some more information on that, but we're of course going to get into the full press briefing that came out this morning. This came out last night. So this was another footage that was released by TMZ. Yashar Ali got this one for us and said, TMZ obtained a security camera video of a person of interest in Charlie Kirk's assassination. In the video, you can see the man walking towards the campus prior to the shooting. And here's what this one looked like. And so there's like a little bit of a strange limp going on maybe. See that right there? We wanted to see how he kind of walks and moves. Looks like a little bit of a limp, right? So maybe it is tucked in there. Kind of doing a heavy right foot. What do you think? It might be in there. Kind of looks like an off walk, doesn't it? All right, so here's some more after the shooting. Then he's running. I'm sure he has the firearm in his hands if he's running. So it's super small footage and kind of pixelated. But man, he's running back through the neighborhood. And students are like walking home, right, to get away from the scene. Yeah, this is after the shooting happened. Looks like he's running away now. So there he is going back the other direction. So, all right. So that's what TMZ got for us. That's the footage. We're all trying to figure out where the gun is and what happened. And so let's take a look at the press briefing because we had a bunch of people come out today and give us the good news that we've got an arrest that has been made and they are processing this murderer.
Special Agent in Charge, Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU.
Now, I want to pause just for a quick second and talk about that timing, because I think he just said that the shooter came at about 8:29 in the morning. And I think yesterday we heard from the FBI that he got there at about 11:50. So I don't know if there's a time frame difference, like was it 11:50 Eastern time and the event was starting at 12, but now they're saying, okay, local time Utah was at 8:29 is when he arrived. Because part of our analysis and thought process was based on what the FBI told us yesterday was he arrived at 11:52-ish, something like that. We're all going, what the heck? How did he get there and within 30 minutes get posted up on the roof, set up, take the shot, and be gone, basically all within under an hour? So it's like, was it scoped out? Was it set up? But if he got there much earlier, if he got there at 8:29, then that makes a lot more sense, right? He can, kind of take his time, get up to the roof, figure out where he is, wait for everything, kind of lie in wait for the right opportunity rather than almost like a targeted, in and out and, gone in 60 seconds kind of a thing. So we'll have to double check that timeline, but I noticed that window got bigger, it sounds like.
They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate.
Yeah, and so sounds like that is a terroristic cell. Antifa is now executing political figures in open public. So that entire Discord, I'm hoping the FBI, Homeland Security, the NSA is backtracing every single person in there and identifying these co-conspirators who were involved in this terroristic attack, encouraging him, giving him information, whatever it was. Hopefully they're under investigation. And if they're not chargeable, at least we should be able to identify them as part of an investigation and make sure that there are the appropriate social consequences for that in terms of jobs and interfacing with them for the foreseeable future, because they went after everybody who even thought about January 6th and targeted them as part of an insurrectionary force, just to be clear. And it wasn't at all. It was a bunch of citizens. But this is Antifa. This is a cabal of terroristic people who have literally taken over certain locations, created their own autonomous zones and things like that. So it's enough playing with them. It's not a peaceful protest group or anything like that. And Discord is going to have a lot of people that will expand this beautiful web of the investigation, and we're happy to hear that.
These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact, Tyler, also mentioned that he had changed outfits.
Amazing. So he admitted a bunch of it in messages, is what it sounds like.
I know there's been speculation as...
And what is this about a drop point? And why was he having to update people about what was happening? Who is he interfacing with?
As well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital O-W-O, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m. where at my direction the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency.
It worked. That worked.
The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake Field Office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
All right. Sheriff.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking
at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here, and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been.
Yeah.
As sad as I have ever been. And It was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay.
Good advice.
He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire.
Yeah, we're not like that.
There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse.
When they're defeated.
But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country, and he said, "I'm not optimistic." He said, "I hate optimism." Like, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in.
I cannot speak to that right now.
Governor, how do you interpret the engravings on Casings?
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not.
Pretty clear.
And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating.
Please.
Talk about this level of hatred that this person expressed. Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him or prompted him to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Do you believe he acted alone?
Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now?
Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun? The gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities, and did he discuss a load?
I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes.
Is he talking with authorities, and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here.
About trying to reunite this country. Do you feel this is a watershed in American history?
I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history, yes. The question is what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s. And having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets, we are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage, again, I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together, the Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion tonight, last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be, I mean, you know, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. But this is our moment. Do we escalate or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Could you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits?
Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was from Utah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where, and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that. Basically, we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.
All right, so that's the press briefing, and there's a lot there, obviously, to unpack. Nice speech from the governor, and I appreciate what he said, no question, and I'm glad he is saying it. I also think, though, that we need a really kind of a full spectrum antibody response to this, full spectrum antibiotics on this. And the way I see it is we want to be nice and steady. We want to be even keeled as we're going through this process. So some people who want to pick up arms and go rage and go commit violence need to hear the message of calm, okay? Because that is not the right answer, obviously. So that message is appropriate for them. Simultaneously, I also don't want people to just be calm and just say we need an off-ramp and let's just tone down everything and all the stuff, because we were doing that. Charlie Kirk was literally doing that. He was speaking when he got shot in the neck. So unless their side is willing to play by that rule and also, like actually unilaterally disarm those maniacs that we covered here yesterday in the colleges who were giddy and gleeful and dancing around and doing all the things, they need the off-ramp. And there's been an entire infrastructure that's been in place to create that ideology. So if it's only one side disarming, if it's only our side that's like calm and don't react and just chill out, all you podcasters and blah, 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 then it's going to be more of the same. We're going to keep playing with people who are bringing guns to microphone fights. And it's going to be repeated because they're not remorseful at all. At all. So there will be, I think, a lot of people reacting differently, and I appreciate all of the reactions, and I do appreciate the prayers, and I appreciate, an off-ramp. I would personally like an off-ramp. I don't want our Democratic Party to be filled with murderous death cultist freakos. We want actual Americans who care about our Constitution, and I would like a strong Democratic Party that was even more free speech than the Republican Party. Could you imagine? They almost used to be. That's not what we have right now. We have a group within the Democratic Party that the Democratic Party is not disavowing. They're not coming out and saying Antifa's bad and we oppose. All they come out is copy and paste and say we oppose political violence. It's not really. You got James Comey saying 86-47. You got Kamala Harris bailing out protesters. You've got riots that occurred right after Trump won in 2016 that basically pale in comparison to, the Summer of Love also happened. It pales in comparison to the January 6th event that they like to make the biggest thing since the Civil War. So I can understand and really appreciate Charlie's message and what the governor was saying here. And I do think that our voices and our words are more powerful than any physical actions that we have. We do need to win hearts and minds. We do need to bring more people to our side of the aisle. But there's also the reality that Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. He got his neck blown off by some psycho, and there need to be consequences for that. And so I will hopefully be able to play some useful role in this conversation, holding the tension and on one part of this broad spectrum antibiotic treatment that our country ultimately needs, because there's a sickness that has permeated this youth. I don't understand how you can be a human and be giddy and gleeful and making dance videos when someone's neck just got blown off. I mean, it's really kind of a sick, twisted way to live. And even if you're talking, it's like, even if it's Osama bin Laden or some of these people, it's like, yeah, you might be happy he's dead and removed or something like that, but you're not gleeful over it. And Charlie Kirk never killed thousands of people. So these people are just kind of deluded. What is that? How do we deal with that? If it's a psychosis or something like that, I guess we could have some empathy for them. But I think this is a willful, intentional ideology, and they want to be a part of it, and they're encouraging it and demanding more of it. So if we don't address that, and we just allow that to continue to fester, as we have for the last, how long has this been going on? Since 2016, the left has been doing this. Trump's Hitler. Trump's going to kill you. If you don't lock down, you're going to kill your grandma. You're killing illegals. You're killing trans. You're killing black people. Whatever the story is, it's around and around we go. So now it has escalated. The Republicans have allowed this to fester. All of these NGOs and the Soros money and the woke prosecutors that have been funneled and put in power in positions, releasing criminals on the streets, invading illegals into our country. It's an ideology. And they need to be defeated. And the Republicans better step up and play aggressively, politically, in the arena and investigate the criminals, investigate the terroristic organization called Antifa, and not just unilaterally disarm and get off the off-ramp, politically speaking. Hopefully, for the other people who are maybe a little bit unengaged, this is a wake-up call to bring them up into the game. The people who are way high, we want to bring back down. Okay, don't pick up your arms. Don't go nuts. But the people who are not engaged, the people who have been on the sidelines in this political fight, the people who have been kind of checking out and saying politics is stressful and politics doesn't really matter to me or my life, other people will handle that. I'm hopeful that they get engaged, that they come back out and find themselves awoken and filled with what they're feeling. If you want to have some rage, you can have rage. Doesn't mean you're going to go kill somebody. We're not leftists. We're not going to go shoot somebody in the neck. But you can be enraged. Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck and killed. He was an American hero, a legend, and now he's gone from us. They took him out for a reason. And if we just sit around and play patty cake, oh, I guess that, let's be better and bigger than them, and not express our emotions and not express our rage and call for serious change, then what the heck, what are we doing? We want our country to not be this way, and we can't be the only people who are showing their bellies on this one, okay? Because they're not. These people are murderers, they're maniacs, they're gleeful and giddy about it, and they're as excited as they've ever been, and they're not going to go quietly in this battle. So we saw that. Really glad that we got some positive developments on this. We know that one of the songs is an Antifa theme song. Andy NGO said the same. The Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao song, of course, is Italian. Now, Trump was also out this morning, and he was talking with Fox and Friends, and here is what he said in this little clip.
Was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was very nice of you. Any updates on this suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But, yeah, I think we're in great shape.
Mr. President.
And he's in custody.
Your suspicion was that he was radical left, and now you have more information. What can you share with us about his ideology?
Yeah, Lawrence, let me just, and by the way, Lawrence is doing a good job. What's going on?
Fantastic
Here?
job, yeah. Mr.
I'll tell
Shout
you
out to
what, I'm very
Lawrence.
proud of you.
Thank you,
I said you were going to do well. Yeah, I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories at how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now. They're going to announce it today, sometime later, probably talk about that. But somebody close to him turned him, you know, they said, whoa. It's interesting where we had very good pictures, but not great, not perfect. And when you look at it, what happened is somebody, and this happens a lot. It happened with the crazy Boston bomber. It happened with others. Somebody that's close recognizes even a little tilt of the head, which nobody else would do.
Yep.
And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him.
See how you move, right?
Essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but you know, I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted. So you have breaking news, don't you? Huh?
Thank you.
You always have breaking news, Ainsley. Sean's going to be very disappointed that we're not doing it on his show.
He'll be very thankful and appreciative of the police officers that got this guy.
They did a great job. Everybody worked together. Pam Bondi is incredible, by the way. People don't know what a star she is. She's incredible. And It all worked out.
Could I ask you just some clarification? So a pastor was able to turn him in, or they got the family of the shooter to turn them in?
Well, it was a minister, and the minister went to a minister who was involved with law enforcement, by the way. And his good friend is a top U.S. Marshal. And they took it from there. And then it was a father got involved, namely his father, and said, we got to go in. And they, so I understand it. And again, subject to change. But, you know, the facts are the facts. We have the person that we think is the person we're looking for. But they drove into the police headquarters, and he's there now.
Did the father know about what the son had done?
I don't know. I'm going to let you get all those questions later, because I can't tell you how accurate. The bottom line is they have somebody that they think did it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Good to see you guys. All right, so thanks for that outro. So that's the president. All right, so he's reporting they've got the guy. That's what he's hearing. Of course, we just heard from Cash and the rest of them. So that all is good news. And that's most of the updates on this. Now, I had some other stuff that I was digging into yesterday, and I was looking through the firearm and a bunch of other things. And of course, one of the questions that we had was about some of these witnesses. And we've been talking about this guy, George Zinn, right? Other people who were there. This guy got arrested at the scene, and there's videos up about that. We went through his prior criminal records and covered all of this stuff that you see here. We also talked about Omar, maybe thinking that that was the actual shooter. Doesn't look like that is. People were asking about this dude, right? So as the investigation continues, we may have the key shooter. We're out now asking about co-conspirators and other people who were involved. And this guy is the cheering guy. And people are saying, who is this? Was he cheering? It certainly looks like a cheer to us. I've heard other people say, no, he was being like your president. Like he's saying, fight, fight, fight. So just be nice to him or something. You know, it's like, it looks like a cheer to me. Everybody else is ducking. And this guy's basically happy as hell. So who is this guy? Well, he may have identified himself. All right. So he may be this guy over on X. And he posted this of him down again here. And the New York Post is also reporting on it. So he says losing Charlie Kirk, misspelled, is heavy and we're still mourning. So I don't know if it's actually him. I'll be explaining myself, but every lie about me brings me one step closer to becoming dead at the hands of a mob. Should I die for hate or entertainment? No, of course not. No, we're not lefties and we wouldn't cheer like you if that happened. Truth will satisfy neither appetite. I'm a father. I feel the weight of Charlie's loss to his family. I stand for my fallen brothers. We are unequal in risk at this moment. So if I address my actions, it will be after some time. I didn't wish to have my face everywhere. I'm terrified for my family and sad for Charlie's too. I cannot bear both. Please pray for Charlie's family is what this guy posted over on X under this account. David R to the power of X. So, all right. Well, we don't know why he was cheering. He didn't give an explanation. He didn't say what why he did it or what he was trying to do. He just says that he's facing threats for his actions, I guess, which we disavow all threats. Threatening somebody is illegal. But there are questions about, was he involved in this? And if he was cheering, then there should be some social ostracization. People should be shamed for cheering the death of somebody who got their neck blown up while they had a microphone in their hand. So why would we endorse your behavior and say, well, I guess he was just caught in the moment or something like that. I don't know. So that's that guy. Now, I'm sure the feds are going to be looking into him. He is also looking right back at probably where the shooter was. So questions about that, right? Why was he cheering? Who knows? Now, that was one guy. There were some other, this is the guy who asked the final question to Charlie Kirk. We're going to watch his video, but we also had people talking about the white hat guy. Okay, there's all these images going around. Who's this white hat guy? What's he doing? And there was a video of him kind of tapping his hat and stuff like that, right? This one has gone like mega viral. I think like millions of people are watching it. That kind of scratch, the hat tap, the nose tap right there that you're seeing. People are saying, who is that guy? Maybe he's, and the answer is no. It doesn't sound like he's related at all. He's part of Charlie's team. Frank Turek posted this. He said, the viral accusations against Dr. Frank Turek are categorically false. Dr. Turk was at a Utah Valley University as part of Charlie Kirk's team. Standing with him is a close friend and mentor. Their bond was marked by deep respect and unwavering support. Like everyone, we want Charlie's assassin brought swiftly to justice, but reckless and false accusations only distract from the truth and dishonor Charlie's memory. Out of respect for the gravity of the tragedy, the doctor is not available for a media interview at the time. Okay, so if you've seen those posts, it's Charlie's doctor. If you're also seeing posts about, right, there's the white hat guy. A lot of people, who is that guy? So that's who it was. We also had questions about, or people had questions about this guy, which was Charlie Kirk's bodyguard. People saying maybe he was also tapping and doing something. But people have identified him. They say it's his longtime bodyguard. Look, it's the same dude who's around with Charlie everywhere he goes. Anyone who watches Charlie's debates knows him at every event. And so I believe he's completely innocent, not signaling anything, right? So there's interesting questions because you've got the cheering dude who's like cheering and looking back at the camera. So, I think it's reasonable for people to say who was in the crowd, who was facilitating this. We know that we had George Zinn and others, but it sounds like the people who are behind the podium and the arena where Charlie was actually being like protected with the fencing were on his team. And so hopefully that can kind of put some of that to rest if you had any questions about it. Now, this was also a video that came out from the guy who actually asked Charlie Kirk the last question. And CNN had a short clip on it, but we can watch the more extended video. But his name is Hunter Kazak. He's the guy who questioned Charlie right before he was shot. And he posted a video about this, and here's what it sounds like.
It's a tragedy, and it's hard to grapple with. And I'm part of a community that's struggling to grapple with it right now. And people have obviously pointed to the irony that the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot.
Yeah.
And that only makes sense if we stay peaceful. And as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I'm on the record for how much I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but like, man, dude, he is still a human being.
Right.
Have we forgotten that?
Many people have on that side have really forgotten that. And he posted a full video. He's actually over on X, I do believe. This is his account, at Staxiums. If you want to go follow him. He says, I was talking to Charlie as he died. I made a video about it here. I hope his family and loved ones are safe. Right? So not every Democrat is a psycho and has some mourning for him. And so he posted this full video where he's explaining what went down. Here's the rest of it.
I don't know how to make this video. It's been a rough 24 hours. This last person to talk to Charlie Kirk, here's maybe a better vantage point of me. So I'll give you some background. I made a video maybe about a week or two ago, I think. I'll play clips so it's clear about what's going on.
Oh my God. So Charlie Kirk just said that the suspected Minneapolis school shooter was trans. First Nashville, now this. How many times makes a trend? Probably the only way to do this is to have an ungodly amount of time to parse through all of the 6,000 mass shootings that have ever happened in the history of America. I mean, Charlie's counting on the fact that only a psycho would do all that. Trans people are surprisingly and extremely nonviolent. Now, while I was scrolling Charlie Kirk's video, I noticed that he was touring America, and he was touring universities specifically. And one of these caught my eye because one of these is the university I'm currently going to.
Obviously, that university was UVU, where I currently go to school, and I'm getting a degree in mathematics in. I'm not going to show a video of what happened, mostly because I can barely watch it. But yeah, here's what I asked. I asked, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Too many. I said the number's 5, counting or non-counting gang violence. Pop is heard. Shout out to CNN for fact-checking me and saying I'm right. First off, you sick fucking psychos that think this is the answer. It's not. I don't know what else to say. It's fucking not. It's awful, and a father doesn't have his kids anymore. Charlie had 2 kids and a wife. And like, not to make this about me, but I have 2 kids and a wife. And if my 1-year-old boy, like his 1-year-old boy, will grow up without memories of his dad, it's a tragedy. And I don't it's hard to grapple with. And I'm part of a community that's struggling to grapple with it right now. And people have obviously pointed to the irony that the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot. And that only makes sense if we stay peaceful. And as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I'm on the record for how much I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but like, man, dude, he is still a human being. Have we forgotten that? Are we crazy? Like, I stand by so little of everything that he said, but one of the things that he stood by was conversation. And I also just if you ever feel like you want to comment with your little conspiracy theory on what happened on the event, you are not helping anything, actually. I've been talking to the police. We're good. Thank you. And if you're salivating about what happened, don't. I don't know if any of my audience is, but if you are, you're not part of what I'm trying to build here at all.
Yeah, so I hope and pray that that sentiment is the actual sentiment that spreads through their side of the aisle, because that feels like a real moment of reflection. Now, obviously, he's right in the heat of it, right? His butt was right in the fire, man. He had a front row seat to this entire horrific murder. And so I would imagine, man, he's watching it right in real time, like at center stage. So I'm sure he's having an experience that is going to be hard to translate to everybody else out there, but it does feel very different, and it feels a lot more authentic than what we've seen from the other side, right? We, within the Democratic Party, within this group of people, yesterday we had student after student after student giddy and gleeful that Charlie was dead, and they were not making videos like this. And that would be the time to make a video like this, just to make a nice post about it. I disavow political violence, prayers up for Charlie. They couldn't even do that. They couldn't even say, I disagree with Charlie, but prayers for him. They made dancing videos. So we've got a real split over there. And I would appreciate more disavowals from their side, saying we don't condone this at all, but many of them are not. Like, literally, it's not like the politicians have all copied and pasted. We condemn political violence. No, you don't. You've got a whole list of those things here, and they encourage it. They've bailed people out. They've let criminals out. They invade our country with illegal aliens. I mean, the whole thing. They criminalize you if you want to just open your business during COVID. So we want people on the other side to wake up and realize that this is not good for them, for their society. I mean, it's like suicidal if you want to live in this environment. This guy speaks out. He doesn't want to be the receiving end, on the receiving end of some attack. We don't want our country to escalate to these stakes, but they have. They've done it. And so we have to face that reality. And I'm really appreciative of that message, actually. He felt like you could see some of the emotion in his face. And I hope it sticks. And I hope it spreads. I hope he can be a force for good on their side and convince people not to be so hateful and murderous. But many of the people that we saw and many of their reactions, from my perspective, mean that those efforts would be futile. So the only other thing you can do, you're never going to convince them to be non-murderous. Maybe some of them you can. But many of them, it's an ideology that they stand behind. They proudly wave the flag, and they're going to march forward because they think that they're killing Nazis because they're brainwashed lunatics. So we've got that, and we're appreciative of that update. That's over from Hunter at Staxiums on X if you want to go and check that out. But let's carry on. We got some other stories that are happening here, and this is an interesting one. Yes. Secret Service agent Anthony Poe is in hot water. We got a new report saying that he's posting some nasty stuff about Charlie Kirk, and Susan Crabtree, the Secret Service whisperer who gets all the inside scoop, is saying they're looking into him. He posted this. This is a current Secret Service agent in a Facebook post saying that Charlie Kirk deserved what he got. Secret Service agent. Now, we've got Congress people who are looking into this, including Senator Marsha Blackburn, who says it's time to fire this dude immediately. And everybody else in any position of government, or really anywhere, who is a murderous thug who salivates over dead fathers, they can face the same termination consequences. So Marsha Blackburn, we'll take a look at her letter, but here's the background. This guy posted this right in the aftermath of Charlie. Anthony Poe says, if you are mourning this guy, delete me. He spewed hate and racism on his show. So I guess that means you get to kill somebody. If you say you're hateful or racist, you get to execute them. Especially when we should be mourning the innocent children killed in Colorado. At the end of the day, you answer to God and speak things into existence. You can only circumvent karma. She doesn't leave. And I guess there's another, he's posting this clip. Charlie Kirk says black women don't have brain processing power. It's all these, there's a bunch of quotes coming out. Like there's this Charlie Kirk stoning quote that Stephen, whatever, the terrible author wrote about. He said that Charlie Kirk said, stone the gays or something. And he's like, no, Charlie was reading that was somebody else's statement. And he was disavowing that and saying that's not the right answer, right? So they take those little statements and they attribute them against him because they're sick. So here's what she writes. She tells us, Susan Crabtree, the comments are similar to other remarks that Matthew Dowd made. They fired him. The Secret Service agent's post is circulating in the Secret Service community. Somebody sent it to her, with some agents upset over his sentiments because he appears to be celebrating the death of a political figure. He works at the Secret Service. He's supposed to stop assassinations. He says, I don't care. He deserved it because he's a racist. And one whom the president, Charlie's not at all, and one whom the president is honoring with the Presidential Medal of Freedom and has often had by his side at events over the last several years. Yeah, and you can talk about race without being a racist, but to them you can't. You can't talk about anything or else you're a bigot or a xenophobe or a transphobe. You can't notice anything. You can't talk about what's happening in your society or else you're a hateful racist who deserves to die, according to a Secret Service agent, apparently. Stop your mourning. Don't mourn for me. Get out of here. Trump and others also credit Kirk with Trump's victory. And what about other MAGA figures who often appear with Trump? Would this Secret Service agent want them shot too? If that's all it takes to get you off, said someone, that's dangerous to have around. One source at the Secret Service said, I'm mostly concerned about the morals of a person sworn to protect the rights of others, to engage in politics and exercise free speech, who's celebrating the death of someone who's actually exercising those rights. Yeah, it's pretty ironic, right? Don't you think? Several of the agent's Facebook posts negatively comment on Trump, his administration and his policies, and he works for an agency that's set up to protect him. But nothing that I've reviewed is as pointed as offensive as his posts about Kirk. I'm told this agent, who is in phase 2 of his career, is not on a detail that would be regularly charged with protecting Trump, yet all agents at times are called off their official duties to contribute to it. In 2017, Susan Crabtree says, I reported on a now retired senior agent named Carrie O'Grady, who suggested in a Facebook post just weeks before the 2016 election that she wouldn't take a bullet for Trump. I remember that story. The Secret Service placed O'Grady, the boss, on paid leave for 2 years to allow her to hit her retirement date. This is what I'm talking about. When the question comes up, it's like, what can we do? It's like, this is part of the bureaucratic, disgusting, incestuous protection of their own that needs to be just rooted out. So in other words, like Trump's in charge of the Secret Service, right? Or he was even back then. Okay. But look at this. So Trump comes in, he wins 2016. He's the president forever. Secret Service puts her on administrative leave, paid for 2 years. So she gets 2 years vacation, then hits her retirement. Then they fire her. Trump's the president the whole time. So is he functionally in control of the Secret Service? Are they actually, pursuing their internal investigations and trying to mete out justice within their own agency? Of course not. Trump might be officially in charge, but there's all these little disgusting moles that are in there. And they do this type of stuff. And, they do this everywhere. She left the agency in 2019 with full pension benefits, even though she said, I wouldn't do my duty. She should have been fired and all of that canceled immediately. Now, in the Wednesday Facebook post, the Secret Service agent Anthony Pooh justifies his karma comments by making a blanket statement that Charlie spews hate and racism. Now, it's an undeniably controversial subject matter, but the broad statement didn't include his full context. These are Kirk's full comments in July 2023, after Supreme Court declared affirmative action programs at public and private colleges are unconstitutional, right? So we had them our entire lives. Like I've mentioned this many times this week, but they had us talking affirmative action like I think it was in 7th grade, maybe even younger than that. But talking about this, and it was always unconstitutional, which is my argument since I'm 8 years old, and saying it's racist, right? It's actually going to increase racism in this country, and you can't talk about that because you're racist against black people. I even got that, when I was in high school. It's like ridiculous. But Joy Reid, and of course Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson, Ketanji, they were all expressed disagreement with the ruling. Kirk said, you really have to wonder, in fact, if we would have said 3 years ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, and the late Rep Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown, if they were affirmative action picks, we would have been racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. Yeah, because they said that they have to have those seats. We have to put like a black woman here to be historic. Joe Biden did that like repeatedly. They love historic. Lisa Cook, historic Federal Reserve. She's a mortgage fraudster and a plagiarist and a liar, in my opinion. So what's so historic about that, right? It feels like affirmative action. It feels like the best person for the role is not getting there, and certain people are getting there based on other qualifications aside from their competency. And of course, yes, I know, racist. Okay, I got it. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Then he played footage of Jackson Lee, stating that she was a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. Kirk then added this response, appearing to refer to Jackson Lee. He said, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. It's exactly right. They were teaching us that from, like grade school for 30 years. How long is that? 40 years, give or take. It's very obvious to us that you are not smart enough to be able to get it on your own. And people are recognizing that all across the country, everywhere we look. So Anthony Pooh is now a Secret Service agent who is saying, he spewed hate. Don't mourn this guy. At the end of the day, it's karma. And you answer to God. And he's supposed to be part of the Secret Service team. Sick person. Now you see, Marsha Blackburn, the senator from Tennessee, says, as our nation mourns the devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, a rogue Secret Service agent posted on Facebook suggesting that he deserved to be murdered. I am calling for this agent's immediate termination. Immediate. No administrative leave, no retirement benefits. It's time to root out the rot in the Secret Service, and it's been long overdue, okay? They got Trump shot in the head, then they torched the body. We got no evidence on that. They said we didn't even have, radio recordings of anything that happened. Kimberly Cheadle resigned in disgrace to avoid any additional scrutiny. Nobody's been fired for Butler. Not one person, as far as we know. People have been suspended, maybe with pay, maybe for 2 years, so that they can retire with benefits. That's disgusting. So how is Trump ultimately in functional control of this agency if this is happening, right? That's my point. It's got to be a big, beautiful purge. Director Curran, they write, Secret Service Director, as our nation continues to mourn the horrific and heartbreaking death of Charlie Kirk, an iconic figure in American politics, I write regarding deeply disturbing reporting that has surfaced this evening indicating that one of your employees applauded this atrocity. The Secret Service agent stated in a social media post that if you were mourning this guy, delete me. He spewed hate and racism on his show, which is just crazy. And the vitriol did not stop there. The agent went on to say that you can't circumvent karma. She doesn't leave. Put simply, your employee, Sean, celebrated and attempted to justify a political assassination. This conduct is inexcusable, and I urge you in strongest possible terms to immediately terminate his employment. As you well know, over the last year, the Secret Service has been an agency full of political actors and one in desperate need of reform. Under the failed leadership of cheating Kimberly Cheadle, a massive operational failure within the Secret Service led to Trump's assassination, nearly led to Trump's assassination in Butler. Just 2 months later, there was a second attempt on Trump's life from Ryan Ruth, who's in trial right now in Florida. We'll get back to that one. Even more concerning, it took 2 assassination attempts before the Secret Service finally elevated Trump's security detail to that of a sitting president. And those blatant failures will forever be a stain on the Secret Service. And this incident today makes clear that 1 year later, there are still bad actors that must be rooted out of your agency. President Trump and all Secret Service protectees deserve nothing less. Now, you noted in a statement earlier this year, Sean, that you recognize the importance of accountability at the Secret Service. And so I implore you to abide by that statement and ensure that this employee never steps foot in Secret Service headquarters ever again. Thank you for your attention to this urgent matter. Sincerely, your friend, Marsha Blackburn, Senator from Tennessee. And hopefully Sean is acting with haste, but there's a lot more of this going on. So we've got other Congress people who are calling this out too, not just the right-wing podcasters. Rep. Marionette Miller Meeks, MD. She is someone over in Iowa. Shout out to Marionette. She's like a very nice lady. Says, I'm disturbed by a post from an Tuscaloosa teacher celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk and calling him a Nazi. She said, cheering political violence is always wrong and should never be done by those who educate our children. I will be contacting the superintendent and the principal first thing in the morning to ensure this is addressed immediately. Matt Cargall, this guy, art teacher from high school, is what this congresswoman is posting. Yeah, nice earrings there, bro. Got it. Art teacher. We got it. Totally. What are you doing? Watercolors? So they've got that. Tuscaloosa, he posted this, one Nazi down, because that's what they think. Posted that right there. Matt Cargall, artist, does watercolors. Wow. Cheering dead Americans who are murdered in cold blood. So, of course, a representative is looking into that. We're happy to see it. And she says, update, he has been placed on administrative leave and they are launching an investigation into his actions. It's probably paid too, so he can go work on his watercolors with Hunter Biden. So that is happening. Okay, Congress people calling everybody out. And this was a wild scene too. So Charlie Kirk went over to Oxford and he was debating this guy, who I guess this is how they dress at Oxford now in England. Is that what they're doing over there? I thought Oxford was like filled with like smart, classy people, not guys who just got out of bed and put a t-shirt on to come in there and debate. But all right, so they said the Oxford Union's incoming president appeared to celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk just months after debating him. Okay, this is who they are. This is how they think. And they're actually in positions of leadership, even in Europe. Here's more on the story from the actual post. Colin Wright says, I've been sent internal Oxford Union group chats by an anonymous member showing comments from George Aberany, the incoming president-elect, celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. Some of these messages have not been made public before. We'll take a look at them. Okay, so this is that guy who is the person who's saying these things, and we'll read more about it. He said, the chats include memes posted by him with captions like, we're back, messages stating Charlie Kirk got shot, LOL. And Charlie Kirk got shot. Let's effing go. Oxford Union incoming president. A post implying Kirk deserved to be murdered for being pro-guns, and a reference to a scoreboard suggesting that Kirk's murder put them ahead. And I used the word earlier in the week, I think the day that Charlie died, that this was a tactical loss, okay? That it's a human loss, no question. It's a political attack, but it's also a tactical, like we lost a key player in a position who put points on the board for our side. That's why they had to take him out. Like, so it's way broader than I think we even realize. And this is how they're thinking about it. It's like you hate when you're observing what they're actually thinking and then they reflect that for you. But he said that he had reacted impulsively, right? So scoreboard, we're winning. We're killing their people. That's their game. Like, it's part of the ideology. We have to take them out. They're fascist Nazis. They're killing us. He said he has sensed that he reacted impulsively and that the comments did not reflect his values. Yeah, they did. These are like spontaneous utterances in evidence. And we give it a high indicia of reliability. So we know. Now, why was his first impulse upon hearing of him, of the murder of someone, to celebrate? Is this acceptable behavior for the incoming president of the Oxford Union? Here is this dude. George right there. Charlie got shot, LOL. This guy, Antonio, they effing shot him. Holy crap, which is more appropriate than Charlie Kirk got shot, LOL. And he's coming in, going to be leading over there, apparently. George also posted this from George Aberony. Says, same dude over here. Hello, we're back, department. I'd like to file a claim, right? Because Charlie just got executed. So we're back. Here's a bunch of other ones. In the Telegram chat or a WhatsApp chat, looks like one of the two. Says George Aberany. He says, Charlie Kirk got shot. Let's effing go. Got that highlighted. He deleted that one. LMFAO, he's pro-gun. George said, it really writes itself, doesn't it? He deleted that one. So he deleted a bunch of stuff too. And then he says another one. Let's effing go. Charlie Kirk got shot. Let's effing go. How are you celebrating someone getting shot? Said somebody in response to him. Yeah. Lucy, like badly? Yeah, it was bad, Lucy. Like bad. It was really, really bad. So that's the guy. Here's another one. Weak ass response. And he says, scoreboard, FN. Wow. Scoreboard. And he posted this. You can see on this, look like an image on his Instagram. Scoreboard, FN. We are so up, RN. Which I don't even know what that means. It must be English or something. So FN and RN. Anyone know what those means? So he's the leader. He just got elected over there. And it was like multiple messages, right? So all of that being reported. And that's the person who is over in Oxford right now. So this guy right here. And the Telegraph says, looks like it was him. Messages on his Instagram says, Charlie Kirk got shot. LOL. The Oxford Union's incoming president appeared to celebrate the death of Charlie. George, so-called, of Oxford, shared comments after Kirk. Messages were shared in a WhatsApp group. At least one of the messages was deleted. Here's this guy. Yeah, what a nice addition to English debate. Well done over there. Great job. The messages met with a mixed response from the WhatsApp group. Understood to be largely intended for freshers. Some were appalled. But his comment just came months after he met Kirk. Okay, so we actually met him and debated him. And Kirk beat the crap out of him, which is why he's happy he's dead, because he's a sick freak. Their debate on toxic masculinity ended up with Kirk urging the younger man to actually think about what he's talking about. The Oxford Union later said, we unequivocally condemn his words. They posted this over here. Oxford Union says, the Oxford Union from England would like to unequivocally condemn the reported words and sentiments expressed by President-elect George with regards to the passing of Charlie Kirk. His reported views do not represent the Oxford Union's current leadership or the committee's views. The current administration has, under President Musa, no association with and is entirely independent from Mr. Aberany. So we had nothing to do with him. Okay, he's not in power yet. He's coming in soon. Now, in alignment with the statement published by our society earlier today, we reaffirm our stance that Oxford firmly opposes all forms of political violence and strongly stands by our commitment to free speech and considerate debate. We would like to reiterate that our condolences lie with Charlie Kirk's family, especially his wife and young children who are enduring such terrible grief. What a pathetic, weak statement that is. They probably don't want to be called a racist, right? So they couldn't actually say what is happening to him or launch an investigation or tell us about any consequences. They just say we condemn it. Good job. Unequivocally condemn it. Great. So is he going to still be there? What's he going to be leading your organization moving forward? I guess would be the question. So they shared that. He is now the president-elect of the union following a vote in June and will be responsible for overseeing an institution famed for its history of open debate. Okay? And he's celebrating somebody who got shot in the middle of a debate. This is their ideology. I don't know how you fix it. And it's not just in the UK, obviously. This is, national. They're like communists. Had he served as the vice president, he had served as the vice president of the Oxford African and Caribbean Society. Yeah, that's nice. A role with the added responsibility of sitting on a race equality task force is what I'm talking about. To engage in conversations on racial diversity with the wider university. Yeah. So they carved out a special position for him so that they're not racists, and they're elevating him. We're going to give you a special role, put you over here, vice president. And there's no, white societies, Oxford white societies or white Catholic society. It's all these little subgroups, and it's all in opposition to white people. Okay. They have sacred spaces, and you can't have any actual evenness across the communities. You have to have these special groups for everybody else who then wants you dead. It's unbelievable. The task force was set up after Black Lives Matter, of course, to promote racial equality at Oxford, including by decolonizing the curricula. Oh, England, man. At Oxford, a spokesman said the Oxford Union is independent of the university, so Oxford University can't do anything about it. We deplore the comments appearing to endorse violence. They are unacceptable and entirely contrary to the values of our community. Kirk made a name for himself, we know, father of two. How the shooter escaped. Trump talked about it. Mr. Aberany was contacted for a comment. Yeah. So they're going to decolonize you and shoot you in the neck in the name of racial diversity because they're from the African and Caribbean Studies group. Whatever. Okay. We're tired of it. This guy is a monstrous dude. How could you LOL at somebody like this after getting walloped in a debate? Because he's a cowardly person and he won't even own his statements. Own it. Don't say it was taken out of context or you were acting, out of emotion or something like that. We know how you really feel. Oxford Union's pathetic. Hopefully they have like an impeachment process or some removal process. But what's ultimately probably going to happen is they'll just allow him in there. And he'll just continue to, I guess, secretly now support the death of conservatives. Now, a bunch of people are getting fired all across the board. And Libs of TikTok had this one, for example. She has been fired, this lady. She was the dean of students. We caught this a little bit yesterday. But she said, looks like old Charlie Kirk spoke his fate into existence. Hate begets hate, zero sympathy. Another teacher, okay, a part of the colleges. And I think that there should be a massive reform with our university system. Any, liberal studies, any of these like humanity things or whatever, the decolonization of your curriculum or whatever that is, just be defunded. You can, of course, go learn those things. You can just go, pay for college. You don't need a federal dollar. You don't need one single tax dollar for those things. Tax dollars can go for STEM. That's it. You can go, learn literature or learn, racism in other cultures or whatever on your own time. But we should address the problem where it is starting, where the teachers brainwashing the kids to think that it's okay to shoot people in the head. So Marsha Blackburn also shared this one, and she's a senator, of course, says, this person should not be allowed within 10 feet of university students, let alone be allowed to instruct them. Mr. Rex has tried to walk these comments back, but the damage has been done. He should be fired immediately. Here's what Mick Rex had to say. Mick Rex with no neck says, crying about a Nazi getting shot while staying silent about the school shooting in Colorado today is peak Republican. Okay, they don't care. Like, a Nazi got shot in their minds because they're crazy. On Charlie Kirk, thoughts and prayers. Oh, and karma is a beautiful bee. From Mick Rex, no neck. He is here. He said, this is the guy, faculty over at this college. They're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. So Marsha Blackburn is talking about it. And Libs of TikTok says another fire lieutenant is now under investigation. The Toledo Fire Department also responded to our request for comment, and there is currently an investigation underway about his disturbing comments. So this guy had some comments. He said, a fire lieutenant who's supposed to be saving lives, responding to shootings, stopping the bleeding, and making sure people survive. He said, thoughts and prayers, Jeffrey Schroeder, this guy right here. Totally preventable and avoidable, if not for the policies and beliefs of people like Charlie Kirk and his uneducated, hateful ilk. Maybe they could kill us too. Wish the guy was a better shot, which I don't even know what that means. Charlie Kirk offers nothing but hate and division to society. No one would miss him, and discourse would be better off without him. Man, I'm really appreciative that these people share this stuff. Like, thank you for telling us who you are. Exactly. I hope they post all of it all day. We're appreciative of the TikTok videos that show who they are, because we don't want them hiding in secret. A lot of them have been hiding in secret, but then it's stuff like this that makes them percolate up to the top, and you get to identify them appropriately. And the police, fire department says, good afternoon. The Bureau of Professional Standards has received your request, and the comment in question is currently under investigation. I have included our social media policy per your request. We appreciate your patience as it takes time to conduct a thorough investigation. Have a nice day. Yeah, and what are the standards, right? Many organizations have standards where if you drop below the standard, you get fired. You get removed. Tons of agencies have that, right? If you're a lawyer, you got the bar. If you're a doctor, you got the boards. Internal companies have those things, right? If you do something badly outside of the office that reflects poorly on the company, then you agree that we can let you go for that as terms of your employment, right? So I'm sure that happened here. They sent over the social media policies. Not sure if the fire department is okay with their firemen wishing murder and death on fellow Americans and wishing he got shot, I guess, where, in the head or something? Like instead of the neck? So sick, right? And the fire department is, of course, looking into it. Now, there was more. There was a cheerleading coach who also got fired, it looks like. She made one of these videos laughing and giddy about it, and it's being reported she's gone. From West Ada, somebody said, we're aware of the video. Like many members of our school community, we were shocked and saddened by this. Please know that we do not endorse or condone this video in any way. Following a review, it was determined that the employee's conduct violated school and district policy. Can't wish death on people, sorry. As a result, her employment with the school district has been terminated. We respectfully ask the video not be shared further. It doesn't reflect who we are. She's fired. Sorry we hired her in the first place. So good riddance to her. And the Democratic Party, like this one, the Bartholomew County Democratic Party in Indiana, they say this is disgusting. The Indiana Republican Party is saying that the Indiana Dems are disgusting. Says this is disgusting. We sincerely hope the Indiana Democrats will remove and denounce whoever was involved in making this post. Okay. So it's not like random TikTokers either. It's the Bartholomew County Democratic Party. Violent delights have violent ends. Sick people. All just gleeful and giddy about it. It's the Democratic Party. Okay. There's a ton of evidence that you can see here. And it's not just the teachers, it's the lawyers. Hans Maki got this one. He said, a Perkins Coie lawyer just wanted a diatribe against Charlie Kirk. If he had done this to someone on the left, he would be unemployable. Yet instead, he's going to be celebrated, this guy called Bradley Blatt. It's another reminder that Trump was absolutely right to get rid of these lawyers, given their records and how they think. Perkins Coie not only helped invent the hoax, which was Michael Sussman and the Steele dossier, Crossfire Hurricane, all the things, and more. And so here's another lawyer, right? A Democrat lawyer basically saying maybe this will be the event that is finally serious, will get us serious about gun control. And he was a leading, wild. I mean, just wild. So that's from a lawyer over at Perkins Coie. Yeah, he'll probably get hired. I'm sure he'll get a gig on MSNBC or something. Gardner also shared this one. Somebody else got fired down here. Elizabeth Jones, apparently, at Gartner Inc. She was dancing to He Had It Coming after Charlie Kirk was murdered, so she's gone. Gartner said, we're aware of an incident involving an associate who posted inappropriate material online. This behavior is not aligned with our company's value or code of conduct. As a result, the individual is no longer employed by Gartner. We remain committed to maintaining a respectful and professional environment for our employees and the communities we serve. And basically anybody who is making a video or a statement like this, I mean, your response immediately is like, I feel unsafe. They're celebrating a murder. They're celebrating death. They're saying Charlie Kirk spreads hate. I think some of the same things Charlie Kirk thinks. I believe in these concepts. So is she going to kill me? This is my coworker. What's she doing here? So it's it's actually a threat to the company in addition to being a violent code of conduct. Like, you'd have concerns about that. Wait a minute. You think it's okay to shoot someone in the neck? Yeah, if you're a Nazi, I can. What? How do you define a Nazi? Anybody who's a racist? Okay. So you can just shoot anybody, basically, because everybody's a racist in some way, shape, or form. So Gardner is, according to somebody else, right? I'm not saying you're actually a racist, but according to somebody, like, oh, I can't believe they're racist. That's cultural appropriation. I can't believe you did that. That's offensive to my culture. Whatever it is, right? Everybody's offended about everything. So I guess you get the justification to just shoot anybody if you want to, if you're a deranged leftoid. Now, Wired is also, right, they're writing stuff like this. And I hope that they keep doing this so that people just know who they are and just unsubscribe, stop reading their garbage, get them out of your companies, stop going to their birthday parties, don't hire them, don't do bids on their jobs. They can go find other transgender leftoids who can do the work for them, right? Extremists and an anonymously run website are posting identifying details of people who are accused of celebrating Charlie's murder. Some of those are being targeted now and getting death threats. Yeah. And again, all death threats should be condemned, right? It's not appropriate. It's illegal. You'll go to jail for it if you do it and then you get caught. So it's not good. It's not ideal, but maybe they shouldn't be celebrating the murder, right? Actually, if they're celebrating murder, aren't they okay with death? It's like, well, what are you so mad about getting shot in the neck? You said like that's perfectly okay. Like you're happy that that's happening in America. You were celebrating Charlie getting shot in the neck. So isn't it a little bit hypocritical to say that you can't get shot in the neck? Hello, at least have some standards over there, Wired. They don't have any. Now here's another one. This person was fired, apparently. Another elementary school teacher. Looks like Margot is reporting they got fired. Lots of people reporting on these things. And here's Jen Psaki. She's blaming the right and Trump for escalating this, which is hilarious because Charlie Kirk was talking with a microphone and then got shot in the neck. And to not call out what's ultimately happening is dishonest and lacking integrity. And so Trump is rightfully calling it out. He didn't give us a stupid platitude like some others did. We also saw this one from Derek Evans. He says another Florida teacher who celebrated the assassination is gone or is on the process of being gone. District there saying that they're addressing the situation very seriously. She teaches at Ridgeview Elementary School. Get him started young over there. Grums is also here saying DC Comics fired this lady called Gretchen and they terminated their comic book. Grum says, I'm okay with this. I don't have any tolerance for death cults. Yeah, totally. Gretchen said, thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bee. I hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie. Sick. And now that's over on Blue Sky. Okay, these are real people. They're real people. And now there's real consequences for their disgusting statements. Now here's another one from the New Orleans Fire Police Department. September 11th came out, says the New Orleans Fire Department has been made aware of an insensitive comment made by one of our employees. This conduct is unacceptable and it does not reflect the values and standards or mission of our department. The men and women of the NOFD are entrusted with the responsibility of serving and protecting all members of our community with professionalism, integrity, and respect. Any actions or words that undermine that trust or that promote division or insensitivity are taken very seriously. The department has initiated an administrative review consistent with established policies and procedures. While this process is underway, we want to assure the public that we remain steadfast in our commitment to accountability, inclusivity, and the highest standards of justice. And we reaffirm our inclusivity of what? Murderers? Trust and confidence of the citizens. And thank you. My name's Roman J. Nelson, Fire Superintendent from New Orleans. Now here is another one from Laura Loomer. She shared this. Meet Shelby Haas, a radical leftist who's currently working for the Defense Department. Since Kirk was assassinated, she's posted multiple times on her Instagram. And You see some of the posts here. The wellness therapist. Yeah, and so, all right, so you get the point. So Laura Loomer has flagged that one for us. Here is another one from Nick Sorter. Says, even the Carolina Panthers, their comms director, the football team, after he celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has been fired. Carolina Panthers. This guy's sharing, what a sick freak this is. What is it with these people, man? They're sick. Charlie Rock 19, he puts Wu-Tang Clan on his Instagram stories, which is a song called Protect Ya Neck from the Wu-Tang Clan. He posts that. Sick. Why are y'all sad? Your man said it was worth it, says Charlie Rock. And now he's been fired. So good riddance to him. Glad to see it. Now, this was another interesting one. And there's a lot of F-bombs in this one. But I think it's kind of worth it a little bit because it's from Gunther. He says, leftists are breaking down on TikTok after finding out that their job has been lost. No businesses want to have these people working for them. And so he clipped this over from TikTok. And I just want to share this because it's pretty hilarious. But there are some F words. So earmuffs for the little ones.
Fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my fucking job. Now I have nothing but this. I have nothing but this website. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore.
Yes, keep hitting your head. Yes. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Okay, that's like, it's too many hormones, bro. What are you putting into your body? That's like a roid rage. The hell are you doing? Should we keep watching? Oh, I know. You lost your job. You know what happened is Charlie lost his life. His kids lost their father. His wife lost a husband. We lost a great American leader. Maybe you shouldn't have made your little videos and actually maybe you should be a better person and not be so gleeful in the death of others. Nobody wants to work with you if you're a psycho murderer sympathizer.
No!
Concerned men with cherry biome Canadian into
Fuck!
Concerned men where is cherry?
Oh my god.
Yeah, too many hormones on that dude right there. Channel 6 News Now is what posted that one. So I don't know if this is actually real or relevant to what's happening here, but it certainly looks like it. So Channel 6 News Now is posting that, and hilarious. So maybe if he pulls his socks up a little higher, he'll find a new place of employment or something. So we also had that, and here's another one. This lady, you can see it almost in their eyes. Like, just look at kind of the lunacy and the jerkiness. It's kind of like, just like, you're just kind of out. You're just kind of possessed almost. Kind of a sick thing. Apparently she's gone too. Canadian leftist called Devin Cassidy, who worked at Legal Aid, has been fired. She posted her video of herself hysterically laughing. And now Legal Aid British Columbia says she's a former employee. So a lot of it is happening out there. And I think it's appropriate to name and shame. If they're violating their company policies, the company has no reason to keep them there. And many of them are. If you are salivating over the death of another person and saying that he deserved it and other people like him deserve it, and you're a co-employee there, you're like, I like free speech. I like the American Constitution. I want a strong country. You want to kill me next? Maybe they do. So now they are gone. And so we're going to keep our eye on this one. And we appreciate our Congress people digging into this, including Marsha Blackburn. Would be nice if we saw a little bit more activity out of the Republicans in Congress, but time will tell if they rise to the occasion or not. Now, my friends, before we wrap it up, wanted to share with you what is going on with Charlie, the man himself. Charlie's back in Arizona. J.D. Vance was out yesterday chaperoning the body back over to Arizona. Here is what this scene looked like as they were boarding the plane with Charlie right there. It's still surreal that he's gone, man. It's hard to even believe it. Like, that's Charlie Kirk. He's dead. All right, so really nice to see JD out there showing some respect. Here is what the flight traffic control gentleman out of Phoenix had to say. Nick Sorter clipped this one. Very nice clip.
On the visual 26. South 1555 Phoenix Center, wind 2409, runway 26, clear line. Clear line 26, Southwest 1565.
Welcome home, Charlie. You didn't deserve it. May God bless your family.
Amen to that. Man, shout out to that guy for saying that. What an awesome thing to say. Chills on that. All right, so we also saw this. Nick Sorter clipping a bunch of what the activity yesterday. And so arrived back in Arizona, and Charlie Kirk getting escorted with the presidential motorcade through the valley of Arizona. And let's see if we can pinpoint where they are based on this scene. No, I'm not real sure where they're going. All right, so Charlie back in Arizona and making their way with the vice presidential motorcade to the next stage. We got Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who posted this. You know, I owe my entire political career to Charlie Kirk. I would quite literally not be in office today if it weren't for him. Even when my own party was working against me, Charlie endorsed me and campaigned to help me win. Today, I am urging Speaker Johnson to place a statue of Charlie in the U.S. Capitol to honor his legacy and to serve as a permanent testament to his life, work, and sacrifice. And other people are saying, well, yeah, there's like Martin Luther King statutes in there. There's a bunch of other statutes. So why not Charlie Kirk, a murdered political icon of America? So, hey, Mike Johnson, you going to do anything about this? We write to you today with heavy hearts, Mike, mourning the tragic loss of Charlie, a patriot, a father, a fearless voice for our conservative values, who was senselessly assassinated on September 10th. His death is a wound to our nation, a stark reminder of the escalating political violence fueled by the divisive and hateful rhetoric from the left. His death has left the family forever altered. His wife, Erica, and their 2 young children now wake up each day without a husband and a father because of an act of political violence. Our grief is deep, and our responsibility to respond is great. Now, Charlie devoted his life to engaging the next generation in the civic life of our country. As founder of Turning Point, he built one of the largest grassroots movements in the country, providing a dialogue, debate, and platform for an unapologetic defense of our Constitution, inspiring countless young people to do the same. Now, Charlie was a man of deep faith, devoted to Christianity, guided every word that he spoke. He loved Jesus. Now, while responsibility for violence rests with the perpetrator, we must confront the broader cultural intolerance that enabled such a tragedy. Hateful rhetoric from the left has created a toxic environment where one side finds it acceptable to stoke fear and violence to silence civil dissent. We must be clear. They are the hate they claim to fight. Nice line. Their words caused this. Their hate caused this. And so to honor his legacy, we call upon you, Mike, to direct that a statue of Charlie Kirk be placed in the United States Capitol. This is not a symbolic gesture, but a permanent testament to his life, work, courage, and sacrifice. It will stand as a reminder that political disagreement must never be answered with violence and that the fight for truth must carry on. Yeah, that would be a very, very nice honor and well-deserved for Charlie in the halls of Congress. Now, we've got that, I've got one more clip here from It's Rubio. And here is what he said in response to this, also having known Charlie Kirk.
Well, Charlie's someone I've gotten to know personally, and it was just heartbreaking to see. Both stunning and outrageous at the same time. Obviously, I have confidence in our investigators are on the ground. The FBI is the best investigative unit in the world. I spoke to the governor numerous times yesterday in the midst of this, and they're also involved with their state police there. And so I think now we just need to let the investigators do their work. And we know two things for certain, and that is that a great young man is dead and the family's been shattered, and that there's no place for this in America. We all know that. All the words are out there, but it's just true. Not just outrageous, it's frightening. Well,
all right, so nice message from Rubio. And we know he was, I think, working with the NSA and stuff like that. So hopefully they recognize this is an international Antifa cabal and they respond appropriately. But we're glad Charlie's back in Arizona, preparing for the final rest. All right, my friends. So it's been a great stream. We've got some good updates on the day, some good news for the first time in what feels like a century this week. Charlie Kirk's killer now in custody. Tyler Robinson, 22 years old. And we covered all the latest on it. I wanted to see if there was anything more here. We had the full press briefing. Voting habits revealed after parents' Republican support was exposed. Interesting. Suspect was not registered with any political party, but became more political in recent years. All right, so lots more will be coming out, no doubt about it. So we covered that. We answered some questions about some of these other interesting people. We watched this guy's video and saw his reaction. So that was a very interesting update. And these guys we also talked about, the white hat guy, the bodyguard of Charlie Kirk, and we are sharing this in case you're continuing to see that stuff out there, asking about other third parties. And yeah, there was an interesting comment here. So yeah, this was interesting too. I clipped this one as well, but this is over from Hannity last night talking about intelligence.
I have a source in the intelligence community, John, that said that there might be post-assassination pieces of a puzzle that might be put together, that there might be a foreign component to it. Yeah. Again, we don't know for sure. I know it's being discussed. Have you heard the same thing?
Yes, there is a group or two of interest that are in the Salt Lake City area that they're looking at, just because of certain recent activities overseas and certain intelligence shared by a foreign friendly from the United States doesn't necessarily mean that it is connected to the shooting. I suspect, though, it's going to result in some action, even if it's not tied to the shooting. But there is a small foreign component that's being looked at. Again, all leads are open. I don't think they've locked into a final theory of the case yet.
Right, well, that was yesterday before they arrested this dude. So we'll see if that is, updated or if there's anything more relevant there. But we talked about that. We also talked through the Secret Service agent who hopefully is getting fired immediately. We saw his disgusting posts. And now Marsha Blackburn is sending in messages saying it's time for him to go. And he has all the free speech in the world. You can have tons of free speech. You just don't have guaranteed employment. That's how that works. So here is Marsha Blackburn. We saw her. We talked about a lot of other people who got fired. Teachers, fire lieutenants are all being investigated. And we're happy to see it because they should be, they should stand by their words and honor their words. And if they think that, then that's good for us to know because now you're a dangerous person and you're a threat to your colleagues. So it's time for you to go. So thanks for posting about it and telling us. So we got all of that. We also saw Charlie Kirk made his way back to Arizona and we're glad he is home. But now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. And let's see what you say about all this. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us on this day. I saw some great comments. I hope your Friday has been better than the last few days. A little sense of relief, I think, that he has been caught. And we're very happy to see that. K-Bean, thank you for clipping for us this morning. We had a couple of comments come in. Thank you for these, my friends. Very nice of you to do that. We got James Anderson. Says Tyler Robinson is the son of a sheriff in Washington County, Utah. Crazy. Yep, we saw that, James. Kid's dad was an LDS, bishop and sheriff. That's crazy. Yeah, and I was kind of wondering about that when the governor was talking about, Utah and how this is not us. And I think he was trying to, hope that it wasn't something with close proximity, but it's literally the sheriff, a bishop, an LDS member, all right there and right under their noses. And it still happened. It's like sick. G-Men. Crowder was subpoenaed by the ATF. He better hold the line for the First Amendment. Yeah, there's an interesting tension here, right, on that, because you've got, of course, Crowder. We want the info, but you also don't want the federal government to be leaking. So there's a strong tension there. We'll see what Crowder does. I don't think he'll give up his source. I don't think he'll give up where that came from. So we'll see what he does. Revco. Leftists online are now trying to deflect because of his parents are Republicans. He had leftist crap all over his casings. I'm so sick of these and so sick and disgusting from Revco. Yeah. No, it's amazing how they're like, Thomas Crooks was a Republican. He was a right winger. Oh, really? Then why did he shoot Trump? This guy's a right winger. Why did he take out Charlie Kirk? It makes no sense at all. Yeah, James Anderson says a Mauser is not a 30-06. It has to be converted. Not in 30-06. It has to be converted. Well, I found that model. So I was looking this up last night. I wanted to try to find more about this. And I posted this whole link over on Substack because I thought it was kind of the most easy place to do that. But if you want to, check it out. But we're not really planning on doing much else with it. I was just posting it here for my own notes, essentially. But this is the one I found. Mauser 30-06, possible weapon, recovered rifle, image not released from the FBI as of September 11th is what I wrote. And this is the one I found. So Mauser 30-06. I don't know if it's converted or what, but yeah, that's what I was able to find. So thanks for the heads up on that. I don't know. I'm not a firearmologist. Mauser, what's up? Serrano Gordios. I am saddened and enraged by the sheer number of ghouls that have come out. It's really shocking, actually. And just the viciousness of it, right? The actual joy and glee in the death of another human. It's really a sick thing. We knew what we were dealing with, but I don't think the extent of it. That video yesterday where I saw college student after college student just kind of smiling and smirking about it. Really oh my God, it's way worse than I even know. I don't never go to the universities or see. Charlie did. James Anderson. That's my friend Sophie's footage, the driveway. You're kidding. Man, shout out to Sophie for sending that in. Instrumental. James Anderson, thanks for that. Good updates. Bill McPherson says, as I said 2 days ago, Charlie's a martyr. All of the just internet has rallied and regular folks are waking up as the left exposes themselves. The perp will now learn the reality of life lessons in jail. I'm a 13-year former correctional officer. What's up, Bill? Well, thanks for helping us clean up the streets, my man. Yeah, I feel like this is true as well. I think that there is kind of an awakening happening and people are, talking about these things. And I'm happy that they are. And Bill, you reminded me. So that, last night I was talking to my fiance, Alexis. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, my love. And we were talking about what's happening on the internet, and so she has an Instagram account and she posted a very benign pro Charlie Kirk message. Very benign. And she told me yesterday, she's like, I lost followers. And she didn't really, she doesn't post anything political. So she's just like, hey, just prayers up for, for this attack. And that's it. She said, she's like, I lost followers. And I thought, well, that's great because you don't want them as followers anyways, but I think it was kind of this realization. It's from her perspective, she had these people who were so vicious, these people who were so it's not about, the number of followers, but it's what the heck? I didn't even say anything, nothing. It's just prayer and honor and love. And they're still just so vicious that they have to unfollow her. And so if you want to give her a follow, that would be amazing. Today's her birthday as well. So if you are interested in, I said, we want value aligned people who are following each other, supporting each other. And I feel like it's waking up. She's one example of somebody who posted something. She never talks politically or posts stuff politically, but she did, right? Just a little message. So people are understanding, I think, the time that we're in, and people are unfollowing and people are following and people are supporting each other. So we're going to give this some time. And I think there's going to be, this organic response to this, which is hopefully something that has some longevity to it and can stay with us for some time. And let me drop Alexis's Instagram in the chat in case you want to give her a follow. She would really appreciate that. And, oops, didn't do that right. If you care to follow her, it would be a nice birthday send. All right, so I'm going to send that over there in the YouTube chat. Post that over on Rumble. And it's her birthday, so on top of all of it. So thank you for, if you're interested in following her. If you're not, she talks a lot about personal development and having breakthroughs in whatever you're struggling with. So Bill McPherson, thanks for the segue on that. And I agree with you. I think that people are rallying. Regular folks are waking up. The left is exposing themselves. They're unfollowing people. And, and she's like, I wonder who they were. I'm like, you can't tell? She's like, no. I wonder who they were. It's exactly right. People are exposing themselves, and we're all getting to see it. James Anderson, what's up? Good luck finding a jury in Utah. All of them know Charlie. All of them know Charlie. Yeah, and Utah's pretty red. They're not going to take too kindly to this. Object Class Keeter says, it is true one person pulled the trigger, but others loaded the gun and cocked it, figuratively speaking. Democrat politicians, the media, college professors, etc. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this dude got to this point, but he did. James Anderson, he said it's a 30-06. It had to have been his father's. Yeah, he did say it was 30-06 for sure, but I thought he said Mauser 30-06. I think they said that a couple times. And other people, I think, were pointing out that I think that might have been the rifle that killed JFK. Patrick, what's up? Won't the defense argue that the emotive, high-profile press conference was highly prejudicial in how they presented the information as absolute fact? No, I don't think so. So it's an interesting question, Patrick, but no. I mean, are you saying that maybe like the media is biased or something? They could make the argument that they could make an argument maybe for like a change of venue or something to say, well, the media, the public, it's a public interest story. So like, that's not an excuse. Just because the public is talking about it doesn't mean that's a defense for you. Generally, but you might say that it's a due process problem because you can't have a fair trial if there's so much negative attention about you. And so you'll see people file a motion for a change of venue. Like, let's take it out of Utah. Let's take it to Washington or something. And I think those will all fail because it's a newsworthy thing. We're allowed to talk about it. The media is allowed to report on it. And if he doesn't agree with the statements there, then he can present his defense in a trial. So he's going to have a forum to contest all of that. And the court is not going to accept those statements as evidence. Like the court is going to make the government present new evidence. They don't just get to come in and say, well, Your Honor, we already talked about this case in 3 press briefings, and so we got him. So just watch that. Like they got to make their case there. He can respond. Everything's taking place in the courtroom. So he'll have an opportunity to defend himself. NC November Girl, what's up? Says Erica will not want the death penalty. Erica will not want the death penalty. Yeah, and that's because she's a very noble, good person. What's up, Mrs. T. Rush? The Bible says, turn the other cheek, but it also says, spare the rod, spoil the child. There has to be discernment used. You can't let everything go. It's unhealthy for both the person and for society. Yeah, that's right. And, Jesus was the Son of God. So, he had like really good skills at like turning the other cheek and stuff. That's why he's Jesus. We're like, how do you do that? But, we're not Jesus. We're not. And so we're going to have emotions and we're going to have to figure out what to do. But I don't think Jesus would say you should just sit around and get murdered and get shot in the neck. I don't think so. More here says Membo for 7 months. What's up? Yeah, JFK, RFK, MLK, CJK. Well done, more here. 9 months as a Membo. Happy birthday to us. A new baby in the house. Sev Russ is bringing in 5 Membos. Thank you, Sev. Look who's coming in. Riley Leifson, James Lee. What's up, Scott Gimble? God Rides a Harley, and Nunya Business is also over here. More here. What's up? Good to see you. Bringing in 10 friends. Winners Creed. What's up, Steve Allo? Kimber, Matt Kettlehut, Jerica Anderson, Keel Yarger, Blue Sky, Squeak is in the house, Merkin King, and others. Yeah, K-Bean, right. If you violate codes of conduct at your job, you deserve to be fired. If you post online, it's public. It's not private. Yeah, that's right, K-Bean. You're right. Will Crump, what's up? 8 months as a member. Dan Goldman blamed the conservative podcasters. We saw that yesterday. He said we're grifting or whatever, and we should just tone it down. It's like, what, Dan? We just saw Stinky Eric Swalwell say January 6th was the same thing as 9/11 and the Civil War. Or I think Pearl Harbor. Or maybe he skipped Pearl Harbor. He skipped one of them. More here. YouTube won't let me post this in the chat for some reason. Well, that's interesting. More here. We got that one. Is it only super chats? You can't post the other chats? 200 Watt Studio says, gaslighting by the brainwashed has begun. The talking point is that he was from a Christian family, trained in guns. Therefore, he's right wing, ignoring the fact that he was fine before going to college. Then college said that he's being killed by Nazis, and so he acted accordingly. Yeah, look, they'll just try to distance themselves from it, but their side is embracing it. So it's a very conflicting position for them to be in. Like the political Democrats, like we condemn all violence. But you look at the social media posts, you look at the internet, you look at the teachers, the firemen, the Secret Service agents. Okay, they're everywhere. They're like our neighbors. They're in our colleges. And they are endorsing it. They're enabling it. They're salivating over it. And how can you reconcile those two positions? 200. Will the Democrat politicians disavow those people specifically, or support their firing and call for that to happen? I doubt it. 200 Watt Studio. Many of the people cheering Charlie's death are teachers. Is it any wonder why your kids are normal before college and unhinged after? Yeah, man, I went to college and it was a joke. I was very disgusted by it. And I don't think it was, very additive. Like most of the good stuff I learned on my own, to be honest with you. Trino Galaxy says, fun fact for this dark day. On September 12th, 1962 at Rice University, JFK gave his famous moon speech, "May these facts be a light in these dark days." We choose to do hard things, including this and the others. Thank you, Trino Galaxy, including supporting our fallen soldiers. Build the Guillotine says Second Amendment and First Amendment are supposed to be guardians of each other. Totally. That's why they're sequenced that way. But this whole situation was meant to pervert that otherwise natural dynamic. Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting comment, Build the Guillotine. So in other words, like your Second Amendment rights might have to be curtailed at the expense of your First Amendment rights or vice versa. You have to self-censor because you don't want to get shot in the neck. But I do agree that they're supposed to support each other. And you have your free speech, and if someone tries to take it, you have guns. Sean of Thyme. Hey, for now / right now. Thank you, Sean. For now / right now. Our dub is here. I hate that people are saying horrible things, but unless it violates terms of their employment, isn't firing them a free speech violation? It seems that can lead to UK-style censorship. That's what the left did when they canceled everybody. They absolutely did. Yeah, they censored us. They literally said we're harmful and dangerous. Like YouTube censored us. We got videos struck after J6. We got videos struck after COVID. All of that happened. And I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm in favor of censoring their viewpoint. But they're not entitled to employment. So in the United States, right, a lot of our employment relationships are at will. So you can kind of fire anybody for a lot of reasons. We're talking about teachers and government people, so they probably have contracts. But, they might have like an employment claim. They might be able to, they could sue for for a First Amendment free speech violation, but I don't think that they would win because there would be codes of conduct. And I think for every single one of them, you could just use the safety excuse and everybody would buy that. Because it's legit. What, you endorse murder? So I think that people can be fired for a lot of reasons and can sue, and they often will lose or, come to some negotiated settlement. But I'm not sure it's a real, I think a bigger free speech concern would be to censor them on X or censor them on YouTube or something, censor them on TikTok. Don't let them post those videos. I wouldn't support that. I want to see them. And that's kind of my same perspective on the Charlie Kirk shooting video. As awful and as horrendous as it is, and as difficult as it is to watch, this is what these people did, and this is what they're giddy and gleeful over. You have to understand this. This is their perspective. They saw the same video, and they're making dancing videos about that. So it's you have to understand what we're dealing with. It's not just the closest thing I can think of that doesn't feel exactly right, but is kind of close, is the feeling after 9/11. Like, I remember living after 9/11. I was in high school, and there was like this like sense that like there was Al-Qaeda everywhere. Remember that? So we need to go fight to save America, or they're going to kill us here. And like, we were justified in having fear because we just saw the towers come down and thousands of our fellow Americans died. So we were freaked. What is going on? Nobody can, nobody knows. Nobody can think clearly. But that was like a group of terrorists 10,000 miles away in a foreign land. We have a bunch of people who are endorsing murder of political figures who are terrorists in America, who are in our neighborhoods, all next door. We went through about 15 of them today. That's a different level, right? That's a different level. So I also think personally that we have freedom of association in this country, and a lot of that has been violated too. So personally, I think that if you're employing somebody and they say something that you don't like, fire them. I don't want you working here. And I got a lot of, concerns about like how civil rights and how, a lot of that kind of violates your freedom of association. But you have freedom of association, and you're not entitled to say things that hurt your company. So they could make a free speech claim, but I think that they'll lose. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that they should be censored or thrown off the internet or canceled or demonetized like we are. If people want to watch that stuff and listen to it, I would encourage it to be out there, because I think more speech is the answer, not less speech, as a general principle. But they're not entitled to employment. Like, could you imagine being an employer and you have like this employee who's like is okay with murdering people, and you have to like have staff meetings with them and bring them in with the rest of your team? So it's a little different. It's more of a voluntary thing, and you're not entitled to employment here. So go make your free speech claims. You can have your free speech. You just can't have a guaranteed position at this office. So keep talking if you want to. Yeah, what's up? Good question. Thank you, R-Dub, for letting me flesh that out. And thanks for the nice dono. Saintly beginnings. We must live our faith. We don't riot. We have vigils. We don't cancel. We debate. We don't attack individuals, but their bad ideas. We are winning because we are not hypocrites. We have truth and logic from Saintly Beginnings. Thank you, Saintly Beginnings. That's right. And the governor was talking about that. Everybody was talking about it. There were vigils, candles, people holding hands, singing songs. Remember what happened when a drug addict criminal died of a heart attack? They burned down the streets for 3 months, and Kamala Harris tried to bail them out. Now they're going to say that they don't condone political violence. We saw what you did. KT, yeah, especially the doctors and the nurses scare me. Yeah, who are these people, man? You might go into your doctor's office, and the doctor's like, I'm glad Charlie's dead. Now let me take a look at your health for you. What? Mrs. T. Rush says Andy NGO is pronounced Andy NGO. Thank you, Mrs. Rush. What a good update. I'm glad I know now. Economath says, apparently some of the uneducated in the chat might need you to review the Constitution annotated with them. Amendment 179 with them, which I don't think we have an amendment that number, but reviewing the Constitution is always a good thing. George Garbanzo says, I hope and pray that these people are blessed with the light of truth to enter their mind. They are people who are suffering from the propaganda and are suffering to feel like they are in danger from an imaginary foe. Yeah, and I had a little hope today with this guy. I'll be honest with you. I thought that this one video was good. I could see kind of emotion in his eyes. Kind of like a conflict, like a reconciliation. Like, what am I doing? What team am I on? I hope that grows. I hope there's something there. There's a little seed that's been planted, and that grows. Thank you, George, for being here and supporting us today. Panda Gaming. Amazon released a book by Anastasia J. Casey about his death on September 9th, and media outlets released headlines about his death on the 9th. It says Panda Gaming. You're saying about Charlie Kirk? Wow, that's pretty interesting if that's true. Anastasia J. Casey. So that's an interesting one. Thank you, Panda. That's a book on Amazon. All right, thank you, Panda. Jennifer, what's up? Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate you being here, Jennifer. Thank you for that. Thanks for being a membo. R-Dub says, yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I was remembering people getting fired for supporting Chick-fil-A and for saying things on the right, and also not loving Congress calling for it, but I get it. Yeah, I mean, and J6ers were fired across the board, right? I mean, they went after the J6ers. If you're even adjacent to J6ers are still having a hard time getting jobs because of this, right? And they were just peacefully protesting. They didn't endorse murder of anybody. And there was some unpeaceful protest as well, but I think a lot of that was instigated because they were also shooting people in the face with projectiles from the upper balcony before anything was really going on. So there's a lot more to the story than just, it's an insurrection. But they waged war on, they went after lawyers, man. They went after the people who were representing Trump. They indicted them across the board. So I think there's good precedent here in terms of employment. And again, I'm not calling for them to be censored. I hope they make more TikToks. I hope every single person on the left who believes that this was justified post a video about it so that we can all see. It says Amendment 1 is 1A. Subsequent numbers are topics and subtopics. So 1.7, you're referring to the free speech clause. 1.79 is the public employee speech and government as an employer. Interesting. Thank you, Economath. So First Amendment's amazing. We love it. Free speech, expression, religion, association, and a petition for government of a redress of grievances. Those are the 5 various factors of the First Amendment. So quick recap on that. Hey, need Alexis's Instagram. All right, awesome. Thank you for following her, Sharpening Man. She'll really appreciate it. Let me drop it. So it's over on Locals, but let me drop it in the chat again if you care to follow her. She's awesome. She does a bunch of inspirational stuff, and she would love to, have more people who would like a prayer about Charlie Kirk rather than unfollow her for saying a prayer about Charlie Kirk. So thanks for sending that over to her, and it's her birthday, so that should be fun if she grabs a couple followers. So thanks for thinking about that and doing that. She's awesome. I'm going to marry her, and she's good. Like yesterday, she sent me a forgiveness meditation, which was good. We appreciate that. That's why she's good for me. It's like a good balance. Kind of even things out a little bit over here. So it's good. All right. And so thanks for checking it out. Now, my friends, we're going to have an after party. We're going to go out and hang out with our membos for just a few short minutes. I think we got some Locals comments and some things that came in. So let's make sure we grab these while we're here. And then we're going to go over and we're going to debrief for just a bit longer on this lovely Friday. Then your boy... Oh, hang on. Let me grab this call. Okay, so scratch that. We're not going to have an after party, but we'll be back tomorrow morning to get into it again. So let's take these Locals comments real quickly, and then your boys got to run. And we'll do an after party tomorrow. We'll do a members only stream tomorrow on Saturday. And so we got some comments here. Heavy Johnny, it is no coincidence that every assassination attempt, school shooting, violent riot, and robbery spree are all done by the left. Don't forget that they are a significant minority. Take a look at the election map. Our leadership is paving the way. And Heavy Johnny, Charlie would encourage you to get involved in local politics or just become a member of your PTA. Get involved together. We will outdistance them at the polls, the PTA meetings, and the Kids Pee Wee League. Don't lose focus. This battle is just beginning. Charlie knew this is what makes the MAGA movement great. Londo, what's up? Representative Biggs still needs signatures for his run in Arizona. We cannot afford to miss this opportunity. The Rubos are here. Michael Savage, man, I remember Michael Savage. He posted this. Worth a watch. He's not believing any of it. We got Zone Girl says, my message, as our nation mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk, making it a true turning point, may we turn towards sanity, morals, common sense, and Christ. Bucky's is Rome is sharing that, another image. Bodie says, PSA, if you find yourself carving sayings in a bullet, you need to seek help. Bucky's is here. If you ever watch Nick Shirley, you know he's a young man who debates Democrats, supposed to be on Charlie's show, and he's been embedded with gangs. Londo says Mauser is the action, not the brand. Many, many guns, including Winchesters and Remingtons, have Mauser actions. They do take They do make takedown rifles with a Mauser action. And it refers to the design of the action. It's a generic term. Rubo's talking about predictive programming. Over with the link from Times. Londo, here's another one of an M98 action rifle with a vertical gold strip. Milan says, I'd love to have RFK Jr. look into his medical history and see if he was on any SSRIs. What, how much, why, and where. He looks solo, and I'm very curious to see if he was in some random college experiments. E. Texley, what's up? There was a student who reported twice seeing someone on the roof a few days before the shooting. Robinson may have stashed the rifle near there on one of those trips. Interesting. That limp may have been the tripod in his pant leg. I don't know. Chubby says, of course he was giving a play-by-play of what he's doing after the murder to his domestic terrorist Antifa buddies. These jackholes aren't principal objectors. They're self-absorbed, narcissistic, brain-dead extremists. Time for the FBI to start raiding and apprehending these thugs. Bucky's, Charlie's dead because Republicans didn't and don't take Antifa seriously and use every firearm agency, federal agency, to dismantle and arrest them. That's why I'm so mad. They refuse to go after terror groups like Antifa who target their voters, and now Charlie was assassinated by one. Why is the Republican Party doing this? Former, with an image. Democrats called conservatives Hitler, Nazis, and fascists, and now they have gone crazy. What's going on? Bucky's is Rome is talking about another YouTuber calling Cassidy Campbell. Thank you for that, Bucky's is Rome. We got Milan says, evil covets the oldest child, even more so a male, who is the oldest and a child of your preconceived enemy is the pinnacle target. They seek more than anything to have that child sacrifice their life for cause. It is meant to break the enemy's spirits. Do not think for 1 minute that turning him was no accident. I saw a sniper say that the shooter would be a skilled shooter, but a sniper trains to take account the slope of the earth. The guy said it was meant to be a shot to the head. Run Mead says electronic communication suggests a starting point for a federal conspiracy and RICO for all those Discord people. Milan, although I am 100% Christian, I believe Cash is not a Christian, so I believe he was saying Charlie Kirk is a warrior and died in the Viking Norse belief. A warrior goes to a specific place in their heaven called Valhalla. Again, as a Christian, I believe in one heaven for all and a devoted faith. We got some memes. Look at me. I saved the country from fascism by shooting a guy talking to college kids. Amazing. Another one from Katie Pavlich. You are hated, so start training like it, says Bucky's is Rome. Bonnie says, we are not them. All right, George Floyd died May 25. Vandalism happened May 26. On May 28, they burned the first police station down. Charlie's murdered. We hold vigils. Not all Democrats are evil, but they are enabling those that are like Antifa and the radical left. Every single person, this old guy says, posting on that Discord regarding the planning and the execution of this needs to be investigated. Antifa won't understand anything short of tracking each of them down and charging them. This old guy says, don't read anything into reactions you see in the multiple videos immediately following the murder. People react in strange ways when they are under stress. NY, much of Trump's organizing strength came from the outdoor rallies. The left may have been successful in limiting the reach of those, but I sense a coordinated effort to make it increasingly difficult for those of us who oppose radicalism to gather peacefully and worship each other. Sharpie guys here. First, Cox and Sheriff come across as genuine and organic. Cash is plastic and regurgitated. He was a friend to Charlie's, but the delivery here didn't feel organic. Says the second cheering guy cannot belong to the campus as his spelling abilities lack school education. I'm pretty old now, but will absolutely call out the trans community who encountered him. No more am I willing to turn the proverbial blind eye. Bucky's is Rome with a couple of posts here about Stephen King and others. Thank you, Bucky's. Milan is in the house. When the left personally accuses anyone, the problem is that they had set in their permanent program brain that the person already is what they accuse someone of being. That is the conservative faces. They have decided long before they meet a conservative that they are racist or whatever they live in, their community mentality. Villa Plot, what's up? Hey, happy birthday, Alexis, and congratulate her on clearing out the ugly people and the robots from the Instagram. Happy birthday, Alexis, from Rub Some Dirt on It. Amazing to see that. Thank you, Rub Some Dirt on It. Rick D. Crowder posted leaked copies of the arrest affidavit. Awesome. Shout out to Crowder. Milan, spontaneous utterances. How long did they post it before they backtrack? Yeah, and Chubby says a spontaneous expression is not put into words, typed out, and then posted, and not immediately deleted. That dude is just a sick, demented scumbag. That's a good point, too. Yeah, he's calling it a spontaneous utterance, but it's even worse than that. He's like, I was speaking out of turn. Yeah, Bucky's. Democrats celebrate and embrace violence because the myth of the right-wing violence is just a myth. A myth. If the right wing was really violent, Democrats wouldn't be acting like this. Bucky's saying governments of places like Canada and the UK are glad Charlie's dead. And now I think Russia is our strongest ally. Londo, hey Rob, no knocking my support socks. Rick D, important to know that that video of the ATC guy welcoming Charlie home, the double clicks of static you hear are pilots responding in agreement and acknowledgement of what was said. That's a good detail. Milan, I heard the story of Stephen, the martyr in the Bible. For his public stoning, it made Christians fear persecution, and it was a lesson I never learned before, and so sounds like a good one. Odessia, gotta work and lurk. Great show. God bless Charlie and his family. Neuro D, what's up? Hey, happy birthday, Alexis. Times like these show us our true friends. Exactly right. Peace and God bless. Heavy Johnny, at least he didn't use AR-15s. I'm so tired of the stigma that it gets. Funny to hear everyone calling this 30-06 a high-power rifle. Pretty standard hunting round for a large game. I was a CAV scout in the Army and regularly fired the Browning. That is what is considered high power. This old guy, what's up? Happy birthday, Alexis. It feels good to stop some of the negative energy, to take a minute and celebrate your life and positive effect you have on Rob and all the Watcher community. Thank you, this old guy. Very nice of you to say that. And this old guy, as an employer, I get to choose who I pay money to. You celebrate political violence, then you don't work for me anymore. And now you have all the time in the world to post more tripe. And Milan, did you send a message to her, to Alexis, saying happy birthday? You're amazing. Thank you for doing that, man. She's going to love that. Thank you, Milan, for doing that. Super nice of you to do that. My friend, sorry to race through those chats. I have to run, unfortunately, but I really appreciate you. Sharpie guy, Alexis has great content, Rob. Y'all are marrying up. Rob, you are marrying up. That is for sure. And Spud says, this is the info Jennifer was referring to. I don't do Instagram, but happy birthday to Alexis. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, Spuds, for that. And we got a couple comments over here. Let's see what we've got. All right, we're going to take these tomorrow because I got a jet. So locals, friends, we're going to hit those tomorrow on the after party, those comments. We usually save those for the after party, so we'll hit them tomorrow when we come back. But got to pause, got to run here for the day. My apologies. We'll come back, members, tomorrow. We'll hit those locals comments and we'll have a full debrief and we'll say what you have to say about everything. It's going to be a beautiful Saturday. But thank you for being here. Thank you, K Bean, for clipping for us. Shout out to all of our amazing mods. Mrs. T. Rush says, you're such a brat. Love you, Rob. That's how you say his name, right? Yeah, pretty sure. All right, so my friends, Joey wants to say hi very quickly and then we got to go. So come on in here. And what's up today?
Oh,
my fans?
What's up, my fans?
What do you have to say?
Nothing. I just go pick up your dog.
That's right. We got to go. All right. So my friends, we're going to leave it there, my friends. We're going to call it a beautiful day. We're going to see you back here tomorrow to get into it again. Shout out to our mods and meme smiths. K Bean, Carrie B, John, Donut, Neuro D, Dog Digger, Janik, everybody modding the fort down for us. We'll be back tomorrow to get into it again for our membos. Until then, thanks once again for being here. Thanks for continuing to pray for Charlie's family and everybody impacted by this puppy. And I hope that you're having a great and a beautiful Friday. And when we come back on Monday, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here on Monday. Bye-bye.